Here at Artist King Day 2, Jaya Franklin for Visionary Artistry Mag. Tell us your name and title.
It's Daoud Anyabwile, owner of Big City Entertainment. It's a creative arts and animation company.
Okay, tell us a little bit about Brother Man, Dictator of Discipline.
Brother Man is a comic book series that I produced along with my family in 1990, and has since the release of it, we've sold close to 1 million books independently. It's also looked upon as the new movement of black comic books that are produced and owned by African Americans.
Okay, where did the whole idea come from to create a black comic book?
What happened was the New York Black Expo. It came about in 1990, and at the time we were living in East Orange, New Jersey, and my brother and I were running a custom airbrush shop. So we came up with the idea to do a comic book for the Black Expo. So we decided to do this character that I had in my book, Brother Man, and we called him my brother Guy, who writes, and we conceptualized it, produced it, and got it out at the Black Expo that year. And the first year we sold close to 40,000 books. That's just in the first year, nobody knowing us and doing this. We're doing it independently. And the book is basically about a man battling social apathy in this fictitious city called Big City. So everything in the book is really metaphoric, like what he personifies, what each character represents, because there's a variety of personalities. But I think for an African American audience, I think what was different was them seeing not only a black hero, because like now you have these movies which say it's a black superhero, but they're kind of always their families are non-existent. Like, where do they come from? You know what I mean? Like in Brother Man, it's their world. Like their parents, their cousins, their aunts. You have, even if you have the a lot of times we see the hustler on the street, but it's almost like we don't see where did they come from. We don't see the student. We don't see the paper pushers, the politicians. So in Brother Man, they're all there. From the children to the elderly, and I think that's why it had that appeal to the mass audiences, because people saw a wide variety of characters. It wasn't just driven by this one character with muscles. It was more than that, because what he represented was pretty much the everyman, the man that's trying to make a difference, and he doesn't have superpowers. He's just doing it on his own, and he knows he can die. So that makes the true hero.
My name is D. Hodges, and my focus is creating amazing wall murals that match the custom footwear that I create. And if they don't understand, here's an example of the custom footwear that I do. The name of my style is called Disturbed Harmony, which is the pattern I've created that I put on all of my pieces. It's a pattern I put on my custom footwear as well as my wall art, and that's my particular brand.
Okay. And what goals did you set for yourself for your art, and how has the Art Entrepreneur Program helped that?
Goals I set for myself. To find myself, for one. When I came to the program, I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but the main thing that was lacking was the business savviness. And when I came into the program, I was granted that information to excel.
All right. So, what do you see your art career doing in the next 5 years?
It'll be global. I don't mean to sound cocky, but what I'm saying is I've developed a style that's distinct, and I haven't put everything together yet. And by creating this Disturbed Harmony brand and just selling the pieces that I've sold already and seeing the type of reaction that people have gotten just from wearing the product, I know that something magnificent is going to manifest in the future.
Okay. So if people want to look at some more of your artwork, where do they find you online?
Well, for one, they can go to my Instagram page. You can catch me at D Hodges 101. You can go to Twitter, D Hodges 101. You can website be up at the end of this week. Matter of fact, go to dhodges101.com.
Hello, my name is Neil Hamilton, and I am president and owner of Paint Out Loud, LLC. And what we're kind of currently involved in now, I think one division of my corporation is that I paint a lot of custom celebrity guitars for a lot of major rock stars in the world now. And that is linked to raising money for a lot of various charities, such as St. Jude's Children's Hospitals, American Cancer Society, Music Cares, the list goes on and on and on with that. So we've raised a ton of money right now for, like I said, children out there in need, people who want to get in the music world, people who want to get instruments in their hands, and just basically just see art being used in a more creative fashion here. So right now that thing is working very beautiful for us, and I'm really digging it. So I mean, right now I've done some major players like Santana, Paul McCartney, Vince Gill, Dave Navarro, Lil Wayne. We just did Ted Nugent's guitars, and we're working on Peter Frampton's right now.
Oh, that's super. Mm-hmm. And the weekend was about inspiring artists, but also about teaching them the business of art as well. And you're a great example of that, because you had your own company. You also worked for a major player in the music scene, and I'd like you to tell a little bit who those were. But now you came to Atlanta, and you found through Craigslist this wonderful career of a new type.
Exactly, and that's really so funny, because that could have been easily a fluke with Craigslist, because I don't really get on there and do too much. We're a little older, can't keep up with my kids, But when I answered that Craigslist ad, that's what actually started this whole thing with the guitar companies now. I mean, I did not know where I was going to go with that, but that really opened up a major door for us. And what was the other question? Oh, God.
Oh, that you already had your own business, and then you worked for another business, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but now found a new career. There's always something new.
Yes, there's always a path, though. When I worked at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that really opened up the doors, because I was always a big music lover, and to be able to be their cameraman and work very close with these musical artists, that was like a dream come true. And then from somewhere, something inside of me said, how do I give back to that situation? Because I love music so much that, hey, I want to paint about music. I want to paint about the icons that I grew up with that excited me in music, because music was very inspiring to me and still is. I don't paint without listening to music, and when I listen to music, then I paint better. So if I'm listening to Prince, I'm going to paint Prince, and Ray Charles, I'm going to paint Ray Charles. It adds an extra energy into the work I do. So I feel like I'm working hand in hand now with the right stuff that's going to keep me going for many years now.
And no matter where we live, we don't always appreciate the opportunities in our own city, but you recently moved to Atlanta. The opportunities here are endless, aren't they?
Oh, God, yes. I mean, coming down to Cleveland, I feel like I've done everything I could do there. It's a little smaller city. I mean, I was blessed to be there, but moving down to Atlanta, the doors have really opened up. I mean, this is a major big city. I think it's a giant hub. Everybody comes through Atlanta. Okay, so the opportunities are endless to me. So I get out there and I meet so many beautiful people, so many beautiful ideas, and everybody's on the move here. Everybody wants to put something together and do something, exciting. And I feel like I'm in the right place at the right time.
Okay, that's the most important thing.
My name is Miles Davis, and I am part of Massive Burn Studios, and I'm an artist and illustrator.
All right. And how do you feel that the class has helped you in your career?
Oh, in lots of ways, actually. I got a chance to meet a lot of other talented artists in the local area, so I love the camaraderie, most importantly. On top of that, though, I feel like I've learned a lot about copyrights and some of the laws that go behind the art business. I've been doing this for a little while now, but there's always more to learn. And it's definitely opened up my eyes to a couple of different avenues that I'm interested in researching a little bit more.
Okay. How do you see yourself, your career changing in the next 5 years?
I'm gonna be rich.
And what do you have to say to other artists who are considering going into the program?
Into this program?
To the LA program,
or just
yeah.
art in the program?
Art Entrepreneur Program.
Come with a great mindset. Come ready to learn and take notes and recognize that a lot of what you're learning is going to be able to be implemented to better your career. Like, it's really solid advice.
Okay. All right. And people want more information on your artwork, where did they go?
MassiveBurn.com.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Tell us about your creative process in your work.
Okay, well, I work primarily in pen and ink, a little pencil here and there. Mostly what I do is I start off with the pencil so I can kind of get it down exactly where I want to go with it. And then I do an overlay with pen and ink. I do a lot of stippling, hatching, cross-hatching, a lot of repeated shapes so I can define a texture within my work.
Now, what inspires you to create?
A lot of nature. I do a lot of organic stuff. I tend to go with like outdoorsy, woodsy type things, but it also kind of I use a lot of musical themes. So I guess the outdoors and music kind of combine. So I guess this piece right here, I have the sax player, but he becomes a tree, so to speak. So it's a very organic type work. I can just really feel the texture of wood and bark and plants and leaves and things like that. And I love music, so I always add that into my work also.
Okay, what are the pros and cons when it comes to technology and dealing with art, in your opinion?
I think it's mostly just a pro. I mean, I don't really see many cons. I think it's really good for promoting your work, enhancing your work. It's one of those things that it took me a while to embrace because I'm more of a traditional artist. I love to sit down and put pen to paper. That's my absolute favorite thing to do. But I have learned the importance of it, and when I started, kind of dabbling in things, I learned how I could enhance my work. So, I don't really see a con. Although I do sometimes feel as though there are a lot of people that are artists who can't draw, and I have seen that. So, from just coming from a drawing background, sometimes I look and I say, okay, well, this guy can't draw. But
so, in your opinion, is that truly an artist if they cannot draw? But they know how to work these digital platforms?
I think you can still be an artist. I think you can definitely be considered an artist. I just think there's a different form. Some people sculpt, some people paint, and they don't necessarily draw. But it's just, I think that I focus so much on drawing. Sometimes I have looked at it like that, but I have grown, more to appreciate and respect, digital art. You have to have respect for it now because everybody is going in that direction. So it's one of those things that I think there are some more traditional artists who don't necessarily embrace it, and I think they're hurting themselves by doing that. I think it's better to embrace any form of expression. If that means you're painting, that means you're sculpting, that means you're woodworking, metalsmith, whatever, and now digital art. I think it's just a different way of being able to express yourself as an artist.
I remember doing art all the way back into the early days of when I was in like the first or second grade. And there was a teacher that recognized that I had some talent and ability to draw faster than the other kids. And so they put me on stage, and I drew the Easter Bunny. It was Easter time, and they had a little show that they put on called I don't know what it was called actually, but it was just, I remember getting on stage and I was drawing this Easter Bunny, and you can look this up, and the teacher were playing a song called "The Old Master Painter from the Faraway Hills." And it went like, he painted the hills, he painted the daffodils. And it had a little rhyme to it. And I remember being so excited because all my little friends started clapping and applauding. And I said, damn, this is what I want to do. I want to be an artist. Because all that recognition you get, and this is the only thing that I was good at, all right?
So you felt that ego stroke.
Yeah, so I went home and told my grandmother I was going to be a rich and famous artist at the age of 6 or 7. And about a year after that, one of the stories I love to tell about my grandmother is this: I came home and I was excited because I had done this, I thought, was pretty good drawing. I wanted to show my grandmother how good I was. And I ran up the steps, and I remember that we lived on the second floor, and the kitchen was in the back of the building. And I could remember it was almost time to get out of school, so it had gotten warm. And she was making biscuits, and I could see the big black fan in the kitchen window as I speak, and blowing out the hot air out of the kitchen. And she was making these biscuits, a little round, brown-skinned woman. And I said, Grandma, look what I got. And she saw it, and she picked it up, and it was upside down. And she was telling me how beautiful it was. And I was like, nah, this woman is lying. My grandmother lied to me, you know. And I said, Grandma, it's upside down. How can it be beautiful? And she looked at me and she said, it is. She said, let me see. And she turned it sideways. And she said, it's beautiful. She turned it right side up. And she said, it's beautiful. She turned it all the way back upside down and said, it's beautiful. And then she handed it back to me. And she looked at me and she said, let me tell you something, young man. If you did it and Grandma saw it, I don't care how I look at it, it's beautiful. I never forgot that. That was confirming my existence as a person, as an artist, as the love that she had for me. And all through my life, I have told that story, and I can see that moment. It's always some key moment in people's life that turn them or teaches them something greater than that they are.
Very cool. So now that you have the taste of recognition for your talent, what you do? Did you follow art in high school and on to college?
Yeah, I did exactly that. I followed it. Unfortunately, I was the worst academic student in the world. And they said, well, you know, this guy ain't gonna never do anything with academics, and maybe we ought to put him in a trade school where he can at least have something to do with his hands. And that was the greatest thing they ever done for me. I went to Washington Shop, junior high school, went on to Central High School, and by the time I got out of school, I had won approximately about 37 awards, one national award and one scholarship. So it was, and I learned everything. I mean, I could build things. I'm an excellent carpenter. I made things out of iron, and it just, I did everything except I wasn't that good in automobile mechanics.
Okay. So so you got a scholarship to college, to art school?
Yeah, I did. And I was so damn poor I couldn't even go. I went for about 6 months and I had to let that go because I had no money.
Where was this? What school?
Cincinnati Art Academy. And so I let my scholarship go, and I got a job. My mother had set it up with some guy who was supposed to be this artist, and I met him, and he was a restoration artist. He wasn't a real artist, I thought. And I got $20 sweeping the floor a week, coming 3 times a week.
And so, when did you start selling artwork? Were you selling any of your pieces then, or?
Well, I sold my artwork. The first artwork I sold, I was about in that between 8 and 9 years old, and I painted a cat that I had, and I went down to the local bar down the street from me, and I sit out in front of the bar with my little picture, and I knew these guys get drunk on Friday. And so, I got to remember, I was a little ghetto kid there. I know the ropes. And I go down there and I sit in front of there, and I sold the thing for about, I think it was about $2 or $3.
What year was this?
This was like 1948 or 9. Okay, so that was big money. I mean, I could go to the show for a dime. So the guy was drunk anyway. I don't know how good the painting was. And so he gave me the $2, and man, I was like, okay, this is it. I knew I had something there when I got that $2. Okay, and so it's like you don't know how to do something. You just do it, and you do it consistently, and things happen. When we got to be a teenager with my friend Chuck, we used to go around and he would introduce me, and for $5 I draw your picture, right? Door to door. And he had a beautiful diction, and he wanted to be an actor, and so he would put on these different characters and introduce himself and say, this is my assistant, Mr. Young, and we would love to do a portrait of you for $5, a measly $5, my dear. And they gave us the $5, and I drew these people. A lot of times they had to put on their wig first, and but I basically drew the same woman over and over again. As long as they had a small nose and arched eyebrows, it didn't look like nobody I knew, but they were happy. So that was a big thing.